Yesterday, Sayadaw explained the fourth factor among the 5 factors of Padani-Yanga. Sayadaw has been explaining the fourth factor, which is effort, which is very important for the yogi. And Sayadaw has not yet finished explaining about Viriya. There are still things to be explained. Arato viriyo ko bhikkhave akusalanam dhammanam pahanaya kusalanam dhammanam upasampadaya. One should have effort in noting the object in whatever posture one is in, walking, standing, lying, and sitting. One should be always alert, active, ready in noting the object so that there will be sustained mindfulness on the object. And also in minor postures such as bending, stretching, turning, opening and closing of the eyes, blinking. One should be mindful in all these postures. One should be mindful all the time, apart from sleeping hours. Apart from the sleeping hours, whatever one is doing, one should be mindful of the object that is arising freshly new at the present moment. In order to be able to note the object, one should exert ardent effort every single second. If one is not exerting effort, there will be lack of mindfulness. Only by exerting effort in noting the object, there will be sustained mindfulness. Mindfulness will be sustained and firm, and one will also gain samadhi, concentration. In the beginning, when the yogi is not skillful yet, he or she misses or fails to note every object in any posture. So one should make the effort in order not to miss any object to be noticed. When the yogi is lacking skillfulness, one misses to note the object from time to time. In order not to miss or fail to note any object, one should be exerting effort every single second. So one should initiate the effort. When one comes across a situation that can disturb the effort, that can make the mind slack, whatever the situation is, one should make the effort. One should make the diligent effort. One should make the determination in noting the object. And if one comes across difficulties, one should step up the effort to note the object. And in the practice, there can arise unpleasant sensations such as pains and aches. For the person who has been so used to living in comfort, keeping himself, herself in comfort, when such kind of person comes for practice and experience some kind of unpleasant sensation, then they want to make themselves comfortable. They want to get rid of the pain by shifting the posture abruptly without mindfulness. Especially people who come from countries where technology is much advanced, where the standard of living is high, they keep their body comfortable, so they are lenient to their body. When they come for meditation practice, when pains and aches arise, they don't want to note it, but they want to get rid of it. Not wanting to note the pain, they shift the posture unmindfully. So if they are shifting their posture when they come across pains and aches, when they shift the posture every now and then, such kind of person will not overcome the pains and aches. When pains and aches arise, yogi should note it with courageous effort. When the noting mind falls on the pain itself, when the yogi discerns the pain itself, one will be able to overcome the pain by discerning the pain. So when one sees the pain itself, overcoming the pain, one can even challenge the pain. Usually, pains and aches arise before one develops Uddiyabaya Jnana. So before one develops Uddiyabaya Jnana, one experiences pains and aches. Coming across the difficulties such as pains and aches, the mind may become slack, the mind can become slack, the person becomes afraid of the pain, and the person even afraid of death. So the person shifts the position. Shifting the position rather than noting the pain is like being defeated by the pain, giving up to the pain. But when the yogi notes the pain with diligent effort, when the yogi sees the pain itself, discerning the pain itself, even though it is painful, but it is pleasant in noting the pain. So when the yogi comes across difficulties, one should assert effort in order to drive out the laziness, in order to overcome the difficulty. So it is very important to boost up the effort in order to overcome the difficulty. So there will be Nikkama Dhatu when one comes across difficulty. In order to overcome the difficulty, one has to boost up the effort in order to overcome the difficulty. So it will be Nikkama Dhatu, step up effort in order to overcome the difficulty. So the effort is higher than the initial effort. One needs to boost up the effort so that one overcomes the difficulty. So when the yogi asserts Nikkama Dhatu, step up effort, yogi is no longer afraid of tiredness or pain, but yogi cherishes to make sacrifices in noting the pain, and one exerts effort stage by stage until one reaches one's goal. So in this way, there should be Parakama Dhatu. One should exert effort stage by stage until one reaches one's goal. In whatever posture one is in, whether walking, standing, sitting, lying, or even the small postures such as bending, stretching, opening and closing of the eyes, blinking, In all these postures, one should have continuous mindfulness. One should continuously be alert, active, ready in noting the object. So when yogi is practicing, they should not be choosy, they should not be picky, they should not be complaining that there are strict rules and regulations, there are strict discipline in the center, so they should not be complaining about the discipline or the strict rules. If there is lack of mindfulness, the mind will not be calm and collected, and thus one will not discern the true nature, one will not develop knowledge, knowledge will not become mature, and such kind of person will be taking very long, and such kind of person will not be making any progress. So yogis should be aware of this fact that if they are choosy, picky, if they are thinking, complaining about the strictness, they will not be developing sati and samadhi, they will not be developing knowledge, and they will not be progressing in the practice. Whatever posture that one is in, one should have sustained mindfulness. And in order to have sustained mindfulness, one should exert ardent effort in noting the object. It is very important to exert ardent effort every single second. One should understand that the sustained mindfulness on the object every single second is essential for the practice. And one should practice with respect, valuing the practice. Chakku masa yatha ando, even though the person has good eyes, even though the person has good eyesight, the person should act like a blind person. It doesn't mean that the person should be truly blind, but it means that yogi should not be looking here or there in the practice. But Saraji says that some of the yogis are looking here and there, not concentrating on their practice. Some of them are looking at other yogis to see how the other yogis are, comparing the other yogi to himself and herself. And some of the facilities, some of the opportunities that one would like to have, if they see others having such kind of opportunity, they make criticism. They are getting such kind of opportunity and facility. Why don't I get them? So, such kind of yogis who are looking at other people, they are not paying attention to their practice. So if the person is looking at other people, they are missing or failing to note the object. They are taking time away from their practice if they are looking at other person. So if they are looking here and there, they are losing very precious kind of work. They are losing the very precious practice if they are looking here and there. And if the person is criticizing other people, they are wasting their precious time. So one should not be doing that. Sotava padiro yatha, even though the person has good ears, but they should act like a deaf person. A deaf person will not be shaken with any kind of sound or any kind of noise. The person who can hear, if he or she hears something, the person will wonder what it is, what sound it is. But a deaf person will not wonder with any kind of sound. So if the yogi is listening to any kind of sound or any kind of conversation, being interested what others are talking about, then such kind of person is failing to note the presently arising object. So they should not be paying attention to whatever they hear, whatever sound they hear. Yogi should not pay attention to these noises and sounds. What the yogi should do is that when yogi come for Dhamma talk or for instruction, they should listen attentively so that they will remember what are the instruction and what are the guidance, what the Dhamma talk is about. In this way, they should listen attentively during the Dhamma talk or during the instructions. Panya vasa jatamugo. Yogi might have knowledge concerning with the worldly education. They might have some general knowledge about the Dhamma, or some of them may have practiced somewhere else before. So the knowledge that they have gained from theory or some kind of knowledge they have gained from the previous practice, they should not be reflecting on these knowledge that they have gained before. Even though they have some kind of knowledge, but they must act like a dumb person. So they should not be reflecting on the theory. They should not be reflecting on some kind of knowledge that they have gained before. And also, one should act like a dumb person. Some of the yogis, they are chatting here and there. They go to other people's room, chatting this and that, and they are wasting their precious time by chatting, having conversation with other yogis, or having conversation on things that are not as important as the practice. So they should not be wasting their time having conversation with others, whereas the practice is more important. Balava dobaloriwa. Even though the person is strong and healthy, but one yogi should move slowly, just like a sickly person. Whatever activity that the yogi is doing, yogi should do all the activities slowly, mindfully, slowly, just like a sickly person. So in the text, Buddha mentioned how a yogi should be. The objects that are arising in oneself are very subtle, very fast. So in order to be able to note these fast objects which are subtle, one should note the object right away as soon as the object arises. So in order to be able to note every object, even in minute details, with sustained mindfulness, one should exert ardent effort in noting all the objects, even the small, minute objects. And when the yogi gets to the stage where experiencing pains and aches, as soon as the yogi sits, or just a few minutes after the yogi sits, there can arise some pains and aches in some part of the body. So when pain arises, yogi should note the pain with patience and forbearance. When noting the pain with patience and forbearance, yogi will gain the benefit. It is sure to gain benefit by noting the pain with patience and forbearance. But if the yogi is afraid of the pain, if the person is afraid of illnesses, then the mind will get slack and the pain will gain the upper hand. Pain will become overwhelming. And if the yogi is cowardly, not wanting to face the pain, then he or she will not overcome the pain. Just as a dead person take anything, just as the dead person take anything, in the same way, when pain arises, yogi has to forbear the pain, just like a dead person, not moaning, not grouching about the pain. Noting the pain with patience and forbearance, yogi can overcome the pain. So in order to overcome the stage, one should note diligently with courageous effort, without being slack, without withdrawing, without giving up. When the yogi notes the pain over and over again with diligent effort, one will not be aware of where the location is, but the yogi will only be aware of the pain itself and the noting mind that is noting the pain. So when the yogi sees the pain itself without the location and the noting mind that knows it, even though it is painful, but it is pleasant in noting the pain. But if the yogi is shifting position every now and then, as soon as the pain arises, then they will not understand the pain. And if the person is afraid of illnesses and pain, fearing that he or she might ruin his or her body by not shifting, then they will not be progressing, they will not be overcoming the pain. Noting the pain with diligence, when the yogi discerns the pain itself and the noting mind that is knowing the pain, seeing these only two things, the pain and the noting mind, even though it is pain, but yogi will feel pleasant in noting the pain, happy to note the pain, and the yogi gains the upper hand. Yogi gains joy and happiness by overcoming the pain. So it is important that when the yogi comes across pains and ache, one should not be relenting on the body, but one should note the pain with patience and forbearance, not shifting posture every now and then. One should face the pain with courage. Facing the pain with courage by noting it, eventually one will be able to overcome the pain. So yogis have been practicing here for 3 weeks already. So the meditation teachers will know their students whether they are able to note the pain well, and the teachers will be encouraging the yogis to note the pain with patience and forbearance. And yogis should not give up in noting the pain. If the yogi is giving up in noting the pain, then he or she will not be overcoming the stage. So, if the yogi is looking here and there, rather than paying attention to their practice, they will not be making progress. And if pain arises, if the person shifts position abruptly without being mindfulness, then such kind of person will not be progressing easily. Buddha himself practiced this way. Buddha gained knowledge through the practice. And Buddha guided the beings so that the beings will be free from suffering. Buddha had great compassion towards the beings, and thus Buddha taught with great compassion. Buddha gave definite guidance and instruction in order that the beings will gain benefit. So the Dhamma are the definite guidance and instructions in order to bring benefit for the beings. And one should be practicing according to the guidance and instruction. One should be practicing accurately, precisely according to the guidance and instruction. The Dhamma has the ability, quality to uplift the person who practices according to the Dhamma, so that the person who practices will not be inferior or degraded, and that the person will not be prolonging the samsara round of existences. So in this way, the Dhamma uplifts and saves the person so that the person will not be inferior or degraded. The person will not take long in the round of existences. While having the opportunity to practice the Dhamma that has a guarantee, one needs to follow the discipline so that one will be proper. While having the opportunity to practice the Dhamma, it is just as important to follow the Vinaya, the discipline. Vinaya is the discipline that the monks should follow so that their bodily behavior, verbal behavior will be proper, so that the body and speech will be pure and clean. So in order to practice the Dhamma, in order to gain benefit, one should practice respectfully, meticulously, and one should also follow the discipline in the Dhamma practice. Buddha guided and instructed in order to bring benefit for the beings, and also Buddha prohibited the wrongdoings so that beings will not meet harm. The teachings of the Buddha should be put into practice, and one should practice according to the guidance and instruction given by the teacher in accordance with the teaching of the Buddha. So one should practice accurately, precisely, according to the guidance and instruction. When practicing according to the Dhamma, it is just as important to follow the discipline. So one should follow the Dhamma Vinaya. One should practice the guidance and instruction accurately, precisely, and one should follow the discipline accurately, precisely. One should refrain from things that should be refrained from so that one will not meet harm. So one should understand that in practicing the Dhamma, one should follow accurately, precisely, the discipline as well. So there should be discipline in the practice. One should be practicing strictly according to the discipline. But some of the yogis are complaining that the rules are strict and so on. And Sayadaw says one should not be complaining about the strictness or the discipline. The discipline is really necessary in the practice. In order to be uplifted, one's mind should be totally purified. Satipatthana meditation can guarantee that one will gain the purification through the practice. If the mind is dirty and polluted, the person is inferior and degraded. And when one has purity, one is morally uplifted, and the person is of high standard when the person has purity. One should ask oneself, does one really want to be uplifted? Does one really want to be of high standard? If the person really wants to be of high standard, one should discern the teaching of the Dhamma through one's own practice. In order to discern the teaching of the Buddha through one's own practice, one needs sati, mindfulness, and samadhi, concentration. In order to attain sati and samadhi, mindfulness and concentration, in order to discern through the practice, one needs to exert ardent effort in noting the object. Such kind of goal will not be attained with the ordinary kind of effort. In order to attain the happiness that has a guarantee, one cannot gain the goal with the ordinary form of effort or the slack effort. It is impossible to gain the highest goal through the ordinary effort or slack effort. There is the happiness which is totally free from the suffering that one has been encountering. The kind of worldly happiness is nothing to be craving about. So if there is no suffering at all, it will be very happy and peaceful. By practicing Satipatthana meditation, it is guaranteed that one will gain the happiness and peacefulness. One will gain true happiness, true peacefulness through the practice of Satipatthana. It is guaranteed. In order to gain the true happiness, true peacefulness, it is not enough, it is not sufficient to exert ordinary effort or slacking effort. So such kind of true peacefulness cannot be attained by slack effort. So in order to attain the true happiness, true peacefulness, one needs to have courageous effort, one needs to have diligent effort. So one should ask oneself, does one really want the guaranteed kind of true happiness? If they really want the true happiness, one cannot have this goal with the slack effort. One cannot have this goal by being sluggish and lazy. One should reach for the goal by exerting courageous effort. So Sayadaw will continue to explain tomorrow how one will be accomplished with the true welfare and benefit by practicing with courageous effort. And Sayadaw will also explain that for those who practice with slack effort, who are cowardly, who are disgustingly coward, will be losing their true benefit and welfare. And Sayadaw will continue tomorrow.